referee is Tony Archer, the #1 referee in the game, in control of this one. It'll feel like a final for the Tigers if it didn't on Monday night. It certainly will here against the Sea Eagles tonight. We're underway. Robbie Farah gives it off to Ryan O'Hara, who's into the forward pack. The start tonight, of course, in fact, it was Bryce Gibbs getting the first touch to be taken backwards by Kite and company. Marshall getting the dummy half, taking it for a little scamper himself, getting an early touch. He was quiet against the Eels on Monday night. Now Hyington. If he stops just across the 30-metre line. Again, numbers in the tackle in this opening set from the Sea Eagles. Ballon was there, so was Kite. Farah getting into dummy half, jumping out. Morris will follow suit and go to that position. Stuart Flanagan on the bench for the Tigers here tonight, so Morris won't have to play all 80 minutes as he has done in recent times. Here's Hallertown, held up by Kite and also Bell at the halfway line. Hodgson coming down the short side to Farah. Good away from Brett Stewart. He'll pick it up in front of his own uprights. Not a bad start from the Tigers. Certainly got through it without a mistake, and that's an improvement on what they showed against the Eels.
Yeah, you mentioned Benji Marshall, and look, he only had 2 touches or 2 runs with the ball against the Eels. Granted, they didn't have much of it on Monday night, but Benji Marshall, great to see him get involved early. Just to run from dummy half, get the feel of the game, not sit back and watch it unfold. He's in there. They need him to have a big one.
Here they are at their own 30-metre line. Ballon at dummy half will go down the short side for Watmo, who's away. Ankle tap there by Collis. He gets up to go again. He takes it into Tigers territory. Good run from the second rower, whose defence has been questionable at times in recent weeks, but his ball running still remains very dangerous. Stewart now coming to Menzies on his right-hand side. He tries to get away from Lawrence, who wraps him up just inside the Tigers 30. Big metres for the Manly side in this opening set of 6. Orford puts it high in the air. Some pressure here on Hodgson. Ballon coming through. Didn't contest the ball as it turned out at the end. And Hodgson made a pretty good catch.
He'll eat those up all night, Brett Hodgson, if Manly are just going to throw it up like that and have no one really putting much pressure on them, on Brett Hodgson.
I'll take it away from just outside their own 20. Marshall again getting a touch from his own end. Is O'Hara. They'll play it for Morris. They go to the right-hand side, in behind a decoy from Farah. Keep it going to that right-hand side. Tuiaki coming in away from his wing. Playing on the right-hand side after being a left winger at different stages for the Tigers. Farah bumped to the ground. That has been a talking point with kickers being knocked down after kicks. There wasn't much contact there, and Farah went down pretty softly. And as a result, it's play on, and Stewart again will bring it back out to almost the 30. He plays it for Williams. What a revelation he's been on the right-hand side of the field for the Sea Eagles. 10 tries in 14 games. He's played 14 straight after making his debut. Here's Kite running at Benji Marshall, picking out the 5'8" nicely, but he stood up, and with some help from Gibbs, and also Lawrence made a good tackle. Now Perry takes it across the halfway line. Good field position again here for Manly in their second set. Here's Orford. Well, he stopped on his run there. I don't know if he juggled the ball or felt a twinge from Maddai. It goes away to Robinson, who's grabbed from behind by Tuiaki. 15 metres out from Menzies. It goes away to Orford. He looks okay. A flat kick. Williams a chance. Flying for it off the hands. Put down by Bell.
Last tackle,
and
mate.
We're going upstairs to check it.
Checking the onside and the grounding.
From that look, it looks like Williams has got a touch to the ball and knocked it forward.
Here's another angle on it. You see them going up. Well, it looks as though perhaps the right hand of Williams has got a touch on the ball.
He's checking it.
Tough one to call once again. It does look to be that way. Chris Waters, our video referee, can be a hard man to please, and this time he says no knock on by Ryan. Knock on solely by David Williams, and the Tigers will bring it back out to their own 20.
Quiet here, boys.
Well, I don't know if that's the way I saw it. I thought Bay Ryan got a hand to it before Williams, but it's a let off there for the Tigers.
O'Hara playing as Morris shows it out of dummy half to be met there in a strong tackle by Perry and also Menzies. It looked as though they were appealing for a lost ball in the tackle, or perhaps just looking at the referee to see how long they had to get off the man on the ground. Stewart, similar tackle here, laying in over the top of Brett Hodgson. Hodgson. Hallertau it is, working it away from the left sideline. He's been playing in the right centres, back in the forward pack today. Here's Hyington. Farah gives it to Marshall, flashing through. Fulton was running a line for the 5'8". Now there's no dummy half. They only just get there in time. Farah has to rush a kick away, and one bounce it down towards David Williams, who runs hard and straight at Chris Lawrence. Now he gets a ball away for Menzies. Kite put his hand up in the middle of the field, looking to link up with the Beaver, who was honoured at a testimonial on Thursday night, and now they get a penalty as well. And you need to be careful if you're going downstairs to lift in the tackle. We've seen some hefty suspensions in recent times, of course, most recently Tom Leroy-Lars. His season is over for the Canberra Raiders after getting a 7-game suspension for a tackle on Ben Cross. Another one here. Barreled over in the tackle was Glenn Hall. The referee this time says there was nothing wrong with it. Here's Perry inside the Tigers 10. Ballon from dummy half. Goes in behind Hall for Orford. They're deep to the right-hand side. Stewart. They had to wait. Menzies came up with it and came up with a mistake as well. The Tigers off the hook for the moment.
Well, the pass not great to Stewart. That checked his run. He in turn threw a pretty ordinary one to Steve Menzies. He was well covered, had plenty of defenders there. Well, Benji Marshall in his face. Beaver tried to, well, he backed into Benji Marshall thinking he can get an offload away, but the transfer of the ball into one hand, it came loose, and the Tigers can work it out.
There's Bo Ryan, who takes it from dummy half, 10 short of the halfway line.
They have caused some trouble down that right-hand side of the Tigers' defence. We've got Tuiaki, Dean Collis, Liam Fulton over that side. They've given up some cheap metres. Manly, I think, will continue to aim their attack down there.
Morris kicking out of dummy half, a good one as well. Stewart got a bounce on his own goal line, and as a result, they'll stop him 10 metres out from the Manly line. We'll see what sort of defensive job the Tigers can do here to limit the amount of metres that Manly make from their own end, because they've made them pretty easily in the opening 12 minutes of this game, despite there still being no score here at ANZ. Bell from dummy half. Coming across to finish him off in the tackle was Bryce Gibbs. Hallertau was underneath as Ballon goes from dummy half. A ball back on the inside for Matai. Coming in from the left-hand side of the field. Fell awkwardly in the tackle there and might have hurt himself. Oh, he clutches at the shoulder. Here's Watmo into the backfield going to Hodgson. He bumps the fullback off and is going once again. Morris wraps him up. Big metres once more for Manly. Here's Orford coming to the right-hand side, grubbering for Williams and also Bell. Ryan takes it in one hand. Won't bring it back out, though. And they'll get 6 more tackles, but there is concern.
It's all right, easy.
Back behind the play for Steve Matai.
It would have been a remarkable thing for Ryan to get back out, but there's Matai, who made good metres, got a quick play the ball, and Watmo, well, just stepped his way through the defensive line of the West Tigers, bumps off Hodgson. Here's Matai, and it was a collarbone or a shoulder that he grabbed.
Let's go, Brett.
And has just fallen awkwardly on it, on the elbow.
Stay behind.
The jarring of it, and it might be just one of those burners.
Clear.
It's one of those awkward ones you sometimes see when players score tries where they get the shoulder in an awkward position. He's had shoulder and also neck problems, quite serious ones, Steve Matai. We'll see how he comes up after that particular incident. They're back on the attack here. 20 metres out. Ballon goes to Warford, who changes the angle. He comes back to Brett Stewart. Back on the inside for Glenn Stewart. Who's stopped there by O'Hara and also Morris. Some pressure here on the Tigers line. They've stood up so far. Now Warford with some room to move. Taking it to the line. Puts it away to Watmo. He's been dangerous carrying the ball so far, hasn't he? Quick play the ball. Ballon. Flat pass this time for Perry. Morris was there to stop him, though. Still going, Perry. He's only about a half-metre short when he plays it. Back to Ballon. Here's Orford looking for a kick once again. This time there'll be no mistake, and guess who? Brett Stewart is there to grab yet another try. He gets the first one here tonight. Manly are on the board. They lead the Tigers 4-0.
And they have looked dangerous in their last couple of sets. Matt Orford, well, his kicking game has been great tonight. Brett Stewart picks the hole, and it's just like he's running onto a pass. But it's a kick He picks the hole, he runs into the hole. Orford puts it into that space, and Stewart's good enough to fall, pick up and fall on the bouncing ball. But Orford gets a repeat set and then puts it into the in goal again, and they come up with a try.
86 tries now in the career of Brett Stewart. And we said before the game that repeat pressure will be a real killer for the Tigers. They can crack on their own goal line. They have here through the boot of Matt Orford, who got them the repeat set. And here he is from close range. Shares the kicking duties at times with Steve Maddai, who let Matty Orford hang on to this one. And he's been struggling with a bit of a shoulder and neck problem in the last few moments. Should be able to make it 6 points to nil. Orford, he does that. No problems from close range. 6 points to nil. The Sea Eagles over the Tigers. And the Tigers, after 15 minutes, once again find themselves in a familiar position, playing from behind against one of the competition heavyweights. Desi Hasler animated as ever in the coach's box.
Well, it's only early, 6-0. Des, it's great to watch the reaction of some of the coaches, isn't it?
Kickoff goes down to the try scorer, Stewart, who goes to Brent Kite, and he'll play it here 20 out from his own line. We go downstairs to Scotty Sattler.
Well, Matty Orford has answered his critics as early on with his kicking game. He's been pinpoint so far. A lot of concerns for Steve Maddai clutching at his left shoulder, getting pins and needles down that left arm, and there were a few concerns there from the Manly Sea Eagles medical stuff. Just want to touch on the crowd in this double header. It's a really good atmosphere down here. We've got lots of supporters all sitting amongst each other, and what looks to be a really enjoyable night. And also West Tigers, big Dane Laurie's just made his way onto the field.
He's out there in 20. Orford was almost away. He had Watmo coming with him. Ballon now gives it off to Brett Stewart, who just tries to do a Greg Inglis, I think. Put up a massive midfield bomb. It was end over end, though. An easy catch in the end for Brett Hodgson. And Tuiaki it is, who'll play at 25, short of the halfway line.
And while Matt Orford's kicking game has been superb here tonight, easy meters there, that is a weakness in Manly's game. The fact that they really haven't got a backup kicker. Brett Stewart, yes, kicks the ball. Jamie Lyon does kick the ball, but they're not proficient at it. And that's what...
Fulton's away. He's got Dane Laurie with him. Stewart backing away from him. Fulton runs away from his support there, and Dane Laurie, had he given it to him, I know he might not be able to match it with the speedsters. Boy, it'd be something to stop, though. Here's Collis, a ball out the back. Luckily for Tuiaki and the Tigers, it bounces up to him. 6 more tackles was the call. It was touched by Manly. Chance to hit straight back after the Brett Stewart try. They take it forward. Here's Farah, ball back on the inside. Marshall was deep. He runs across the face of them. Laurie beats one tackle. It was Watmo he beat, and he gets across the line to score for the Tigers. Yes, he does. Dane Laurie gets across the stripe. The Tigers are back. They got 6 more tackles. The second try in his career. I told you he was something to stop.
Well, he's made an impact every time he's come onto the field for the West Tigers. He has become their impact man. Fulton slides through there. Poor tackle. Brent Kite, a one-on-one miss. Goes the other way, away from Dane Laurie. Fulton takes the tackle. Then they go down to the... Well, they did go down to the right-hand side. They got 6 to go. Little second-man play. Benji Marshall cuts back on the inside, picks up Laurie. Watmo, the man you questioned his defence and what it's been like in recent times. He misses the first up miss. It's an arm grab, and Brett Stewart, well, it was going to be hard to hold out a rampaging Dane Laurie.
Marshall and Laurie combining nicely just then. Here's Hodgson, the extra 2. And midway through the first half, we're back on level terms at 6 points all.
And that is something that you wouldn't see from the Manly side up until the last month. They had 34 put on them, and against the Roosters, 40 against South Sydney. A couple of really glaring one-on-one misses in that passage of play. Certainly Watmo missing Dane Laurie, just hung an arm out, but it started with Brent Kite missing Liam Fulton, and an easy one, just slid straight past him.
Shallow kickoff taken by Farah. They got down there as a result, though, of the height on the ball, and were able to stop Bryce Gibbs 15 out from his own goal line. A change for Des Hasler and the Seagulls, with Luke Williamson coming onto the field in 15, taking the place of Glenn Hall. It was the other way around last week, with Williamson starting against the Bunnies and Hall coming off the bench. Laurie comes up with a mistake.
And he doesn't impact on the play, mate.
He hasn't made too many of those in his time in first grade. This one, though, will put his team under enormous pressure.
Yeah, the West Tigers just questioning Tony Archer there, because one of the Manly players was called offside. One of the players was called offside, and I think it was Luke Williamson or Watmay. They're off the line pretty quick.
Together, boys.
Tony Archer's answer to that question from the West Tigers, they didn't impact on the play.
Head in, Anthony.
Well, if you're offside, you're in the ball catcher's face.
It's like being inside the 10 metres from a kick. You change the reaction of the player with the ball.
That's why that rule is in place. Might be a tough one there against the Tigers. If they're offside, just blow them offside. Here's Williams now. He takes it down within 8 of the Tigers' line. Ballon at dummy half, waiting for it. As Perry on his outside shows it to him, goes to Warford instead. Another second-man play. Brett Stewart, early ball for Robinson. With his speed, he goes for the corner. A lovely play by the Seagulls.
The put down in the corner post, mate. Thank you.
Don't they have some speed on the outside? Stewart. And the passing to Robinson, it was clinical.
And had to be. And didn't he pin his ears back from a long way out here? Tuiaki, he pushed him, but he didn't push him early enough. And that'll be a try. Terrific ball movement to the left there. The pass, he didn't have to halt his run, and they were deep too, and Robertson on the fly.
Well, we said the Dane Laurie error could hurt the Tigers. It does. Despite their complaints to the referee about the Seagulls being called offside, not blown offside, Manly go in and pick up 4 points, maybe 6 with the kick to come, of course, from the sideline. That ball from Stewart had Robinson on the fly, didn't it? Beautiful rugby league. Matty Orford looking to put them back in front by a converted try. Distance can sometimes be a worry for him. No worries about the distance this time, though. Didn't quite get the angle on it. And it stays at 10 points to 6. Entertaining game so far. Of course, the first of a doubleheader. Make sure you stay with us after this one, because it will be the Bulldogs taking on the Eels. Can the Eels continue their revival in this 2008 premiership? Still looks as though he's finished second in the lottery, doesn't he? Desi Hasler up there in the coach's box.
Well, it's only 10-6. He wouldn't be happy with what he's seen. I think there's been some worrying signs in terms of the Eagles' defence. They've looked good when they've got the ball, but the West Tigers, well, Tim Sheens told us before the game, they're not going to die wondering tonight. They're not going to play conservative football. If they're going to go down, they're going to go down playing their own style. They've moved the ball. They've looked good when they've had it. But the errors have been costly.
Kite playing it as it goes to Warford. Shows it then. Snaps off his left foot to come back towards the middle of the Tigers' defensive line. Ballon from inside the 40. A kick in behind Bo Ryan. Luckily for Manly, it had plenty of backspin on it when it hit the turf, and Ryan picks it up and brings it back at pace as well. Here's Marshall now from dummy half. Got a bit the tackle of Williams, and also Bell was unable to do so. Ryan will go again. Come up quickly to stop him. Stewart was there. Steve Bell involved once again. They're back at the halfway line. 24 gone. The Tigers trail by 4. Laurie running the decoy for Hallertau, who beat a couple of defenders, including Matt Orford, who was the second one. It might have been Watmough up again quickly.
It was Watmough arm grabbing again. He was up quickly in Hallertau's face. Hallertau just pushed him off.
Farah, a ball to Hines, and he did well to hang on to it under pressure. Hodgson, though, hit from behind there pretty heavily by Menzies, and he was held up by Luke Williamson. They come back to the short side. Farah kicking off the back foot almost. An awkward one here for Brett Stewart. Oh, Laurie was coming down the field. Oh, now Stewart coughs the ball up.
No advantage. I've got it. I've got it. He missed him. Dane, over here. I'll tell you what it's for, Brett. He comes through, he gets stepped, and he sticks the foot out to try to trip him. I was playing the event. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah, but I did.
Well, Dane Laurie was pouring down the field.
I saw it, but I didn't know how far you were going.
He was going to put Brett Stewart in row X. Had he made contact with him, there he is.
Here we go.
Or did he Did he get him with the foot?
No, I don't think he did. But the intent was there. He hung the foot out. He couldn't help himself. The temptation was too great. He was looking to put him into tomorrow, but missed, and then thought, well, the next best thing's the, well, yeah, I'll have a lash with my foot.
Might have just grazed him on the back foot as he went past. A good thing he didn't collect him any more heavily than that. Otherwise, he might have been leaving the Tigers short manned for the rest of the game. Cuthbertson is out there for Manly. He played a couple of metres short of the halfway line. Orford coming away to Matai. Spent some time on the sideline, getting some treatment after they scored their first try through Brett Stewart. Looks to be okay for the moment. Williamson now met by Laurie, who really stings in defence when he does get them. Ballon for Orford. Just try and chip in towards the in-goal area. Not a great kick this time, but he has had a good kicking game so far as Tuiaki brings it back out from the Tigers' 10-metre line.
Well, he does everything at 100 miles an hour. Laurie doesn't. Whether up off the defensive line, can get himself into trouble with a little bit of footwork, as we saw with Brett Stewart there. But, gee, you've got to love his determination and his effort.
His fault. Player who made the break, which almost led to another Tigers try. Farah to Marshall. Ball back on the inside for Lawrence. Hit a strong tackle by Matt Orford. Hit him right under the ribs. Stopped him in a hurry. Here's Farah. On the inside here for O'Hara. Late in the tackle count here for the Tigers. Now Farah showing it a couple of times. Fulton's away again. Comes to Stewart. Oh, Morris put it down. There was a chance for the Tigers. Now a chance to counter-attack. Stewart coming up with the ball. And he'll play it 8 on his own side of halfway. Fulton getting away again.
Well, they've created some opportunities, but just haven't finished them off. And it all started early in the game. Robbie Farah slicing through the Manly defence, had no one with him. They bombed a try when Tuiaki was throwing a poor pass from Benji Marshall. And on that one,
Menzies got a ball from Cuthbertson. He came to Hodgson, and he'll win the race to the corner. Another try for the Beaver. And it extends this lead for Manly. What a lovely ball by Cuthbertson.
Well, we saw Robbie Farah just put up a good ball for one of his forwards in Liam Fulton just a second ago. There was a hint of a forward pass, but I don't think so. It looked worse because Robbie Farah dropped on his run. He should have taken that, John Morris. It was out in front of him, but it still should have taken it. Cuthbertson, what a terrific ball. He's a good footballer for a big man. Can play through the line, and Beaver, as we said, still possesses those traits that have made him such a great player. Just a little skip to the outside, and Brett Hodgson, no chance to catch him. What a ball by Cuthbertson.
Well, he has those hands. We've seen that throughout his career now. An important time as well, just before the break. 14 points to 6 it is. Another conversion attempt coming up from wide out for Matty Orford.
And possibly a 12-point turnaround. John Morris drops a ball 3 tackles later. The Eagles run one in. And Cuthbertson, the man that provided the pass for Steve Menzies, rested last week, but again, one of those forwards that I think takes a little bit of pressure off this man, Matt Orford, because he's a ball-playing forward like Glenn Stewart.
Just outside the 20. For a 10-point break. Almost at the break. It's on target once again. It's got the length as well. Great kick by the captain, who is having a good game here tonight. 16 points to 6. Looking to break a 2-game losing streak, and having lost here last Sunday against the Rabbitohs, they are back from what we've seen so far, the Sea Eagles.
Well, he just started that one out a little bit. Nice little draw on both kicks. That one just starting out at the right hand upright. Right in the centre it finished.
Bryant bringing it back out to the 20-metre line for Ballon. Across to Williamson. Here's Cuthbertson again, keeping it going. Stewart to Menzies on the right-hand side of the field. Now Bell back on the inside. There's a danger to step off that right foot. Do some real damage to the Tigers' defensive line. Stewart to Williamson. Cuthbertson's there again. He's got a sniff, hasn't he, in this final 30 seconds. Ballon now to Warford. The Tigers defence backpedaling. Maddai kicking for Robertson. Some pressure here on Hodgson. He takes no chances with it and takes it across the sideline, and that should do us for the first 40 minutes.
Well, they're going to rush to pack the scrum. The Sea Eagles, they're going to get there. Maybe they think they can get one against their head. Oh, no, Brett Hodgson's knocked it out. They'll get the feed here. Hodgson's taken the ball out. Robertson looking to get there, but Hodgson takes the ball out. The Eagles, that's why they rush to pack the scrum. 10 seconds left. They'll get a play in.
They realise they'll get one last crack here. 10 metres out.
Spine together, boys.
Pretty much go for a play for Matt Orford to kick once again. It's been so successful so far in this first half. We'll see what they put on. Time back on. Orford from the back of the scrum gives it to Menzies. It's Menzies who grubbers straight to Brett Hodgson. Well, I don't know that that would be the play. If someone's going to kick it, give it to the number 7 to put it into the in-goal area. They've done well, though, at half-time. 16 points to 6. If you're in the eye line of the player, you are certainly affecting the play. If you have been called offside, no matter whether the player carrying the ball drops it or not, as he takes it forward. Here's Ballon. They work it away from their own end, the Sea Eagles. They'll play it here through Stewart, 20 short of the halfway line. 16-6 as Ballon goes from dummy half. Some poor work and marker there by the Tigers. Stewart. Glenn, that is, going to Bryant. Good hands, Cuthbertson. Ball down around the knees.
On the run, too, for a big man. Pulled that in.
Orford. From his own side of halfway. Will kick it down to Tuiaki, who will look up and see a good chase from the Sea Eagles. So joining the fray was that man, Cuthbertson, who came through the line and put a hit on the winger. Hodgson at dummy half. Turns it back on the inside for Fulton. A little ball back across the ruck. Collis. Not hitting it at great speed there. You can see the Tigers using the ball, though, from inside their own end. They promise to play some football tonight as we go downstairs to Scotty Sattler.
Well, I'm here with injured front row Keith Galloway, and half-time report from Tim Sheens, mate. What did you really focus on?
Yeah, just getting our defence in order. We've sort of getting quick play the balls and leading towards offloads and all that sort of stuff. So we've made a big emphasis on that, and saying that points will come if we sort of stop that.
He lost the ball.
Yourself, you've been bravely playing along with a fracture in your foot, but you've succumbed to that. What's the latest in that? Surgery, or it's just leading into the finals? What's going to be the decision with that?
Yeah, well, maybe depending on how we go tonight and that sort of stuff, I'll see a specialist during the week. I had MRIs on Friday and they didn't come up too good, so we'll see a specialist during the week and go from there.
Thanks very much for joining us, mate.
Cheers.
Coming off the bench tonight, he's been replaced by this man, Glenn Hall, who he took the place of midway through the first half. Ballon back on the inside, good tackle. Harrison on Glenn Stewart made the tackle. Here is Glenn Hall. Flat pass from dummy half. The Tigers came up quickly and they score a try through the unlikely shape of Glenn Hall that blows the game open. 20 points to 6.
Well, just in that chat with Scott Sattler, Keith Galloway said they spoke about their defence and they spoke about slowing them down in the quick play. The ball's back on the angle. Glenn Stewart almost gets through. Great tackle there. It was Harrison. And then here's a play they use, and they've already used tonight. The face ball hitting the flat runner. Mark Bryant, the fact that he was moving, dragged a couple of West Tigers his way, and that opened up a little bit of a hole for Glenn Hall. And he just strode through it.
From close range, hard to stop, isn't it? You need to get a body in front of him and really put your body on the line defensively. And as a result, if Hall getting across, in a moment it will be 22 points to 6.
Well, the quick play the ball from Bryant up the field earned the Eagles a penalty as Orford slots it through.
It is a 16-point lead suddenly. The Sea Eagles in command of this game. It was the last thing the Tigers needed to do to give away some possession and have the Sea Eagles come down the field and score off the back of it.
But it's exactly the start the Eagles were looking for. Des Hasler, I've got no doubt he wouldn't have been happy at halftime. Tried just before halftime. Really, it was 10-6. There was nothing in that first period. and that's the start he would have been looking for. A good try, good bust there by Glenn Stewart, and a quick play the ball. The Tigers' defence just not being able to get set.
Mark Bryant playing it for Ballon, who supplied the ball down the short side. Watmo to Matai on the run around. Watmo was looking for it, couldn't get there in time, but they're off and running on the right-hand side now. Orford gives it away to Stewart. Here's Menzies. Across the line again tonight already. Scored 4 tries in their last 4 games. It's a shame it's all ending at the end of 2008, isn't it?
And any surprise from the man that scored 1,000 tries anyway?
Not really, but it's a shame we're losing him.
It is.
Here's Cuthbertson.
He's still got plenty to add.
Now Watmo standing in the tackle. They're beating defenders suddenly. Worrying signs for the Tigers. Here's Matai going towards Hodgson, who picked him off one-on-one. But they're standing there offloading. They are breaking tackles. Here's Brett Stewart showing it, and he'll go all the way himself. He got it down. The fullback gets his 2nd try of the night. 87 now in his career. And suddenly it's very much one-way traffic.
Well, that was the kickoff set. Little tip-off on the inside to Matai. Half breaks through the tackle. Again, a quick play the ball. They got the West Tigers absolutely rattled. Brett Hodgson falls for the dummy. And Brett Stewart, he's opposing number 1, beats the tackle of Collis, throws the dummy, and takes Liam Fulton over the line.
Matai down this left-hand side of the field, put them in range of the goal line. Orford hooks one back again. And it's 28 points to 6, 12 quick points to the Sea Eagles since half-time.
Yeah, here's the play out of dummy half. Brett Stewart, 5th tackle play. A hit, a spin, a pirouette, and running at will for the whole of those 5 tackles.
The 18th double in his career, Brett Stewart. Kickoff down to Robinson. Well, now they've got a couple of early tries in the second half. They could do a real job on the Tigers. You get the impression. And of course, for and against will be very important if they're to win the minor premiership. They need to win all their remaining games and hope there's a slip up somewhere by the Storm.
I'm sure Desi's sitting up there thinking, look, I'd like to see the team play a little bit of football. I think defensively, but he'd want to see them shut the West Tigers out. They have been weak in that department, and that's a department they have based their last 2 seasons on, defence.
Working up towards the 40-metre line. Bryant popping the ball out the back. Orford linking up with Stewart. Here we go again. Menzies is there. Stewart beats Hodgson. Menzies is looking. He gets the ball. Go, Beaver, go! What a run, what a catch, and what a try. Some greats of Sea Eagles history linking up once again. Stewart, who will be a great, to the man who will have a grandstand named after him. Steve Beaver Menzies gets another one.
Well, they're killing them with the offloads. Great ball from Matt Orford there. He decides to take Hodgson on. He just got enough to him to slow him down a bit. But who's up there in support? The Beaver. The Beaver. Are we back at Brooklyn or what?
You'll get a job as their PA announcer if you keep that up.
Isn't it great to see Brett Stewart in full flight? Hodgson did enough just to slow him down, but Steve Menzies, the ever-present.
Hits it well again, hooking back. Doesn't have the legs, though, this one. It stays at 32 points to 6. They have gapped the Tigers, and it might be embarrassing if West can't muscle up defensively in the half an hour we have remaining.
Oh, they're just not putting them on the ground. The Eagles are standing there, offloading, running, sidestepping, doing what they want to do. The Stewart try was off tackle 5 from the kickoff. The Menzies try, well, they only needed 4 tackles.
And
when you looked at the table and the games coming up last year, they had the best of it.
Now Orford kicking in behind them. Some pressure here on Ryan. It bounced away from him. He was knocked to the ground there by Williamson. It's play on the call. Good kick by Orford. Bell plays it. Here's Glenn Stewart at the 10-metre line. Gives it off to Glenn Hall looking for a double. He bounces away from the first defenders and gets across the line. Can you believe that? 2 tries to Glenn Hall and they are just toying with them. 36 points to 6.
There's Des. He's looking better. He's looking better this half. That's off the back of the Matt Orford kick that had about 3 or 4 Manly chases, and only one of the West Tigers dropping back to pick it up. Glenn Hall bumps off 1, 2, goes through 3 or 4. There's Tigers scattered everywhere. It's carnage. He's a journeyman.
Been to a few clubs, but boy, he's caught on in 2008 in this lineup for Manly. In the starting side tonight, and Matt Orford from almost right in front makes it 38 points to 6. Well, if we were talking for and against a moment ago, as Glenn Hall comes from the sideline, a bit of an orthodontic appraisal right there, it looked like. Won't be hurting too much at the moment, having scored 2 tries.
And that is the strength and I suppose for Manly, the joy of having a player like Glenn Stewart in the back row. He's a footballer, but he's also he can play as a first receiver, drifting across the field there. Got a good quality pass on him.
Williams playing it for the Seagulls. We've added 22 points in 17 minutes in this second half. They might beat the clock by some stretch in this second period as Watmo brings it up towards the 30-metre line. He'll play it for Matai. Goes from dummy half. He's got Brent Kite, who's back out there with him, up around the neck. Was Metasula, no call there from the referee. Play on for the moment. Matai, of course, carrying what looks to be either a neck or a shoulder problem. Now he gets up limping in the wars tonight. The kick goes down to Brett Hodgson. Picks it up off his toes at his own 20-metre line, and is stopped there by Bell and also Menzies.
Hasn't he had a couple of tough weeks on his return back to the Tigers lineup? Brett Hodgson, of course, missed a month of football, came back for the Monday night game against the Eels. Had the whole team was just a horrible night for the Tigers. He had a running battle with Matt Checken. Hasn't had a running battle with our referee tonight, but gee, it's been a tough one. Good run there, Dane Laurie.
Almost away, grabbed at the last moment there by Glenn Stewart again. No Tiger there at dummy half. How can that happen? Here's Marshall now with players on his outside. No look ball away to Hallertau. Tuiaki had to cut back in away from the sideline. He didn't. And as a result, they'll take him across it. Well, it almost worked out for them, but not for the first time tonight. There's been no Tiger there at dummy half off the back of a player having almost made a complete bust.
Yeah, it was a half a break. Benji Marshall, there's the no-look pass to Dean Hallertau. Benji did a great job to step outside Steve Matai again, but the Eagles get there in numbers. Watmo hung an arm out and did enough to halt Tuiaki, and then the cavalry arrived to push him over the sideline.
Let him go into the scrum, please. Heads in, heads in. Get in.
Somebody from the second row of the Seagulls. It might have been Anthony Watmo, perhaps. Had a hold of Dane Laurie shorts as they put the ball down here. Steve Menzies was looking for a hat-trick. Coming up in support, they put the ball down. Fairly comical moment back there in the scrum. Here's Matai again. It's in the arm free onto the chin of Steve Menzies. That was called play on here at this particular venue in the 80th minute last week. And Josh Perry got a try.
Off the head?
Well, no, off the chest. Everyone knew he knocked it on, bar the video referee who said try. Strange call in the season of strange calls.
Miracle ball there by Matai.
Tigers in a bit of field position suddenly for the first time in this second half. Midway through it. Just on 20 minutes to go as Hyington runs towards Steve Bell. Some attention there on the left arm by Glenn Stewart. Play on is the call as Gibbs takes it forward. Stewart around the legs to make the tackle on him there. Set to the right-hand side. Here's Farah. Gives the ball to Marshall again. Just in behind him. It's hurt them a couple of times tonight. Hallertau coming to the sideline. Nowhere to go. Comes away from it. Does well to beat the tackle of Steve Matai. He gets up shaking his head yet again. I'll play it 5 metres out. Morris. He goes to Farah. Grubbers in behind them. Look for the upright. Taken, though, by Brett Stewart, who went to ground heavily and hasn't moved. He might have been collected Perhaps accidentally here by Brett Hodgson.
Well, I don't know whether it was Hodgson or Dane Laurie. Dane Laurie certainly came over the top, and again, it looked accidental, but here's Hodgson. Well, he's hit the ground. I think he's collected Laurie. He's collected Laurie's shin as he's hit the ground. No problems there, but boom. The right leg of Dane Laurie has collected the back of Brett Stewart's head.
Nothing, Rennet.
You're exactly right. It was an accident. He was coming in to make a tackle on the fullback who hit the ground awkwardly in front of him. This will be play on. Brett Stewart has some memories, of course, or maybe he doesn't have memories of what happened at the grand final at that end of the field. A similar position last year, of course, when Michael Crocker, Billy Slater, came pouring down in the early going of the second half. To get a chance to at least remember the full 80 minutes in 2008 if they are fortunate enough to find themselves in a consecutive grand final.
Did a great job to pick that ball up, and that was a clever little kick by Robbie Farah. Put it in behind the line. Stewart just swooped on a great ball.
Cuthbertson again for Matai. Fulton couldn't stop him. Here comes Dane Laurie galloping like a thoroughbred to wrap him up from behind. They'll play it quickly. 30 away from the Tigers line. Here's Stewart. Where's Menzies? Orford gives it to Menzies. He's in behind him. Well, there was a chance again. It went to Stewart Flanagan. It was touched by a Tiger. Flanagan was offside. Menzies was there once again looking for the ball.
Keep your current side covered.
Well, very little the Tigers could do in that situation. You just want to try and stop the ball getting to a Manly player. It's come off a Tigers player to a Tigers player that's in front of him. The penalty will be taken, and here they come again. Brent Kite
works it up to be stopped by Chris Lawrence. 8 metres out from the Tigers line. Perry. Oh, don't tell me he'll force his way over from close range. The ball comes out of the tackle. Somehow, some way. Play on is the call without a 6 again wave in the right arm of Tony Archer.
Gee, they're short right.
That's where they go. Lestrange sees it. Menzies showing it. No look ball there from Brett Stewart away to David Williams. Here comes to Dane Laurie. That's always a bad move. Laurie with some help from others will stop him about 9 out from the line. Lestrange goes to Glenn Stewart. Chance here back to the left-hand side. Early ball. Cuthbertson picked off in a lovely tackle by Liam Fulton. Here's Menzies to Orford. They're coming at them, looking for yet another try. Menzies is there, stopped by Dane Laurie. He might have lost the ball. No, he didn't, they say. Back to the right-hand side, Orford. Marshall looking for an intercept. Stewart gives away to Stephen Bell, and they're in once again. They had them shot on the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. They came back to the right, and the points just keep ticking over for the Seagulls, 42-6.
Gee, that was a good ball by Matty Orford, who switched from the left. Here he comes from the left to the right. Benji Marshall sees him coming. He knows where he's going to throw the ball. He goes for the intercept. Bo Ryan goes for the intercept. But the Manly passes are good enough to beat both players and get on the outside. Brett Stewart finds Stephen Bell. Good play, Matt Orford. Well read.
Just outside the 20. He hits it pretty well. It will hook away. Once again, didn't have the distance on it. It doesn't matter, though, when it's 42 points to 6.
5 tries in the second half. Matt Orford, he has had a terrific game. He's trying to bend it in. He's had that draw working all night. It's too much on it then.
They did an extra club, though, didn't he? Here's Marshall from the halfway line. Down to the in-goal area to Brett Stewart, who, along with pretty much all of his teammates, is putting their hand up. They're all there looking for a touch because there are tries in the offing. Cuthbertson put a lovely ball on for Matai to send him away in the lead up to that try. Here's Stewart again off the back of a Cuthbertson offload in the tackle. They just can't lock them up. Hate to say it, but at times in the second half especially, it's looked like men against boys.
Well, Manly are doing what they want to do, like they're running and passing at will. The Tigers, getting into the, they're just not competing. The defence is ordinary. You know, players shouldn't be allowed to offload the ball as much as the Manly players are. As Matai does well to stay in the field of play in the end.
is Orford. Will find the touchline with a kick. Well, no one won't, in fact. Hodgson gets a bounce, an awkward one for the Seagulls, coming down chasing it. He can beat Menzies first up, but doesn't do the Tigers too much as far as favours go, because now they have to work it away from their own territory, and they're muscling up defensively here, the Seagulls. Watmo grabbing Tuiaki and dragging him backwards, then getting caught up.
He's leaning on you, and you're standing over the top of him. Wait there.
In the play, the ball, he gave the referee no choice.
So the Tigers come into this game 24 points with a plus 10 differential. At the moment, they're minus 26 and still on 24 points. Are you ready to put the red felt pen through them? I know mathematically, if they win their next 2 games, they could make it. But on what happened on Monday night and what you've seen here this afternoon, are you ready just to say, well, they're finished?
Well, I guess mathematically we had to keep them in the hunt before the game, but I had the red felt pen through them about 50 minutes into the game against the Eels on Monday night. And of course, they take on the Sharks in round 25 at Leichhardt next Sunday. Let's hope there's a big crowd there, because it will be absolute must win for the Tigers then. But given the Sharks' form last night and what we've seen from the Tigers in recent times, if the Sharks are ever going to put on a big score against somebody, it could be next Sunday at Leichhardt. Here they are in attack for the moment. Marshall giving it to Morris. He had Laurie there with him, touched by a Seagull. No restarting of the tackle count as yet. Marshall is stepping. No look ball there for Tuiaki. Once again, he supplied a couple of them. That will be the 0 tackle. Now we get the 6 again call from Tony Archer. Here's Fulton, about 5 metres out. Don't forget the Bulldogs and the Eels next. Game 2 of the doubleheader tonight here at ANZ. Morris to Hodgson, showing it. Coming to Glenn Stewart, and also Brent Kite. No way through there. They'll be desperate to keep their line intact here, Manly. For and against, very important for them. Marshall down the short side, away to Heinton. Nothing doing there, stopped by Menzies and also Williams. Now Marshall once again. Here's Hodgson. He gives it to Laurie. Good hands. Can't he catch and can't he step? It's a night for doubles, and Dane Laurie gets one for the Tigers. They have 2 tries and he scored both of them.
That pass wasn't meant for him, but somehow, and it was a bullet pass too. Marshall to Hodgson. Hodgson, that definitely wasn't him, for him. Over his head. It was for about a player about 4 outside him. What a great job he did. Good hands and big step on the inside. Beats Brett Stewart. Hodgson converts. And they get the 12.
The way that things were going, it was going to take something pretty special for the Tigers to score, and they've done that through Dane Laurie. He's got a job for the next couple of seasons, hasn't he? He has certainly made an impact after coming into the first grade team with the Tigers midway through the season.
Well, just when they were looking for a big man, the Tigers, they've been struggling.
Boy, they need some more, though.
Big players haven't been their suit over the last few years.
The kickoff goes down to Morris. Gives it off to Laurie, who'd like a chance to wind up. He might have been collared or just beyond there by Brent Cott. It didn't matter, though, because he took some stopping and made it all the way back out to the 20. His work is effective here once again.
He's come up with some good defence. Matt Orford, again, a good hit there on Dean Hallertau. Stopped him in his tracks.
Bryce Gibbs is back out there for the Tigers. They're playing at their 30-metre line. Here's Stuart Flanagan out of dummy half. Hitting a couple of defenders. Got away from Glenn Stewart there. He's almost up at the halfway line. Here's Morris. Going to Marshall down the short side. Back to the middle of the field. Here's Hodgson. The Tigers playing some football suddenly out the back. Flanagan set upon. And there'll be a tackle, or rather a penalty.
No, wait there, mate.
No advantage there for, I'm going to say, the players being up inside the 10, was it? Well, there'll be a high tackle in the midst of all that, but it won't matter. The Tigers keep it on the attack. They'll go inside the 20. 42 points to 12. Similar scoreline, of course, to what they went down against the Eels by on Monday night. Here's Gibbs popping a ball out the back. Flanagan picks it up. He shows it. He's off to the Raiders in 2009. Played in the Lestrange tackle for Morris. Here's Hodgson. Second man ball there, intended for Marshall in behind Fulton. Tuiaki has to go back and pick it up. There's no way past Robertson or Matai. Hallertau. Here's Marshall again. Laurie getting it flat-footed there off the head. Play on, it should be. Called as such by the referee. Now it's knocked backwards. No, knocked on by Dane Laurie, and the Tigers losing the compass in that set of 6.
Dane Laurie offloading there. Stuart Flanagan not watching. Here's the off. Stuart Flanagan drops the ball backwards. Dane Laurie knocks it on. Messy set there from the Tigers. Some poor passing, finding the ground, and then a couple of players not keeping their eye on what exactly was going on.
Heads in. Ball in, Matt. Ball in. Ball in. Out.
Orford from the back of the scrum. Gives it off to Steve Menzies, who on Monday night football against the Titans, you'll see it live, of course, on Fox Sports. He'll play his final minor premiership game at Brookvale Oval before Manly finish off the regular season with, again, another live clash on Super Saturday in round 26 against the Panthers. What could be a very big game for Penrith, perhaps. Here's a penalty against Bryce Gibbs for having an arm up around the neck or the head there of Glenn Hall. Yes. That says it all, doesn't it?
Not much to smile about.
Not in recent times.
He's hanging around for the Bulldogs-Eels clash anyway.
And change beanies. If you come to the doubleheader, do you bring a couple of beanies just in case?
You know that doesn't happen. You can only have one team.
Depends how old you are. I know a 5-year-old who's got about 8. Here's Perry playing it 10 metres out from the line. Glenn Hall looking for 3. 73 minutes gone, 42 points to 12. Ballon again at dummy half, showing it a couple of times, running a long way before he gives it off to Glenn Stewart. Back on the inside, the Tigers crack again. Inside balls are their nemesis. Big men coming back on the angle with a bit of footwork. They always struggle against them, and again it was pretty simple, wasn't it? Stewart just back off the inside ball there from Matt Ballon, who's been sharp out of dummy half again tonight. And they might have half a century in their grasp. And here is Steve Matai relieving Matt Orford of his goal-kicking duties. They had concerns early in the game as to his condition. Here he is kicking goals 5 minutes out from the full-time hooter. Hits it pretty well enough to go inside the left-hand upright. It's 48 points to 12.
Out. Elementary.
The Tigers. One last crack at them. Lawrence it is. They played about 15 away from the goal line. Flanagan from dummy half. Here's Hyington. Well, he picked out a player there, and Matt Ballon, well, he wasn't back to 10. He certainly wasn't in marker. An area of the game has come under some scrutiny in recent times. Now Flanagan, stopped there by Ballon. Luckily, he'll just get a second hand to it and hang on to it, Matt Ballon. Now he plays it quickly. Hyington gets there to dummy half. Morris wins a long ball for Marshall. Another no-look pass. He's trying to corner the marker on this right-hand side with no-look passes, Benji Marshall, in the second half. Fulton plays it from Hallertau. Goes to Marshall once again. Hodgson. Numbers on the left-hand side. Here's Lawrence. An early ball, a good ball for Bo Ryan. And while they've been heavily beaten here tonight, the Tigers will get the last try of the game. Ryan gets a 4-pointer. And it makes it 48 points to 16.
Well, they could have done with some of this passing early in the game. Good ball movement. Passes on the mark. Hyington, good ball to Chris Lawrence. They caught out Steve Bell, who moved up, needed to make the tackle and didn't. But they throw some of those passes in the first half, and anything could have happened. They certainly wouldn't have been trailing 16-6 at half-time. Not many opportunities in this second half. They've scored a couple of late ones to make the score look a little respectable. But really, it hasn't been.
Not much. Not much, unfortunately, for them. Their defence has made sure of that because they have been outplayed in the middle of the park. From pretty much the opening whistle, a couple of early chances for the Sea Eagles, with Matty Orford putting a couple of kicks in which could have easily led to tries. Had they scored those, the score could have been 60+. Hodgson's had a couple of easier conversion attempts at the back of Dane Laurie's tries. This one from the sideline, though. With time up, will test him. Hits it pretty well, hooking back. Not enough distance, though, for Brett Hodgson. It stays at 48 points to 16. The Tigers' season, for mine, mathematically or not, is over by some stretch. If it wasn't after the loss to the Eels, surely it is now. And Manly back on track after 2 straight losses. They've won by plenty.